you start making a bit of money now?
Great
after all these years, yeah.
After all these years,
Yeah.
you've followed us for years. haven't
Well,
you?
you know, I heard bits and bobs of you here and there. But,
Yeah, we started selling T-shirts at last.
oh, that's good. Is the cum one?
The James one, the cum one, the
Oh, right,
grandmother
yeah,
one. You know,
Well, I've never seen the cum one actually.
you know, it's got cum on the front. It was, you know, Beats International. Don't Be Good to Me.
Yeah.
Well, the guy, one of the guys in Beats International wore them on the Come Home once. He wore it on the like top of the pop, so it got to number one. And the T-shirt was there.
Right, and
Number
everybody
one
went
spot.
like, "We want that because he's number one. He's got it." So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it was
good.
just a bit difficult for us because it was the nearest we were ever going to get to number one.
Nearest was going to get to top of the pops.
Yeah, nearest we were going to get to top of the pops.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, we're
Yeah,
more
we're rich.
financially
No.
secure now.
We are rich. We're all driving Maseratis.
oh, that's so
wearing
that
Gotio
the one
suits.
packed outside was
Yeah,
yours.
that's
oh,
it.
okay.
You know,
I was wondering.
snorting a lot of coke. You know, just kind of, yeah.
Doing things that rich pop stars do.
Yeah, pop stars, John.
Yeah. We don't really ride bicycles, do we?
No, we don't really ride bicycles and get the bus in Manchester.
Ah,
That's what we do.
so you haven't really been on an independent label until now?
No. We're a new band. Yeah,
Ah,
just
I
you know,
see.
yeah, completely new.
Well, you had a few lineup changes, so
Yeah.
No,
So,
I mean, because it is a new band, really. Anyway, in a sense, in 18
in
months
that
ago.
sense, yeah.
There's three people from 80, 84, 80, 85.
Whatever, yeah.
There's only three, and there are four new people since then. So
What are they? Members of the band or people just like help out? You know what I mean. You
Yeah,
know, there's always like
Members of the band do help out.
they are members.
Yeah,
they are
that-
members of the band. They are members of the band. Saul is a member of the band. Dave, the drummer, is a member of the band, and Mark, the keyboard player, is.
Yeah.
It's just
Andy chooses, doesn't he? The trumpeter Andy chooses to be.
he's an autonomous figure, really.
More
Andy.
separate.
He,
He's more of a free agent, so in a way he is a helper. But you know,
I mean, there are distinctions between us because of the history of James. You know, so like there's a business side to James, which as yet none of us take part in.
which involves just the three of us. And,
Yeah.
but the
and that's-
the music is.
But musically, I mean,
Separate.
we're a band in that we're not brought in to play set parts, or you know, we're asked very much to give as much as we can to the music, and as a consequence, the music has changed direction in the last 18 months. You know, it's not like you keep a. I mean, there are certain rules, ground rules, by which we all act. You know, and there's a certain ethos about James. So, and we all stick to that. But basically, you know, we're one band of 7 people.
Yeah.
And I mean, you wanted to change the band
Right,
for a long time anyway, weren't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
James, the three, Jim, Tim, and Larry, were looking
Yeah.
to work with other musicians for years, and it was only really at that point that things, 18 months ago, that things came to a head when the drummer left. So they needed a new
decided to-
drummer.
yeah.
So and then it just happened
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they met the right people.
Everything came
Well,
together all at one time.
They met us.
Um,
they met the right people.
How's the factory in Manchester family? It's always been considered like factory was always the
Factory,
example,
this one over here.
that one. The example of like the Manchester scene. You know, if you were from Manchester, you had to be on factory and you had to be, part of a big sort of movement.
Right.
Did you ever consider yourselves part of a sort of big thing, or?
Not part of a big thing. The thing about being on Factory is that yes, it's the only record label that is based in Manchester, or anyone with any considerable success. And so a lot of the bands from Manchester, of course, either know of Factory or Factory know of them before it ever reaches London or before any band comes to London. So in that respect, the Factory do get to record quite a lot of the Factory bands. Like Joy Division were, and the Dirity Column, James, a certain ratio, the Happy Mondays, Northside, the Railway Children,
Whoever else has been on Factory
Whoever
for
else
years,
is, yeah.
the last 10 years, yeah.
all from Manchester,
Yeah.
most of Manchester, and then some bands have moved elsewhere. But
there is something peculiar about Factory to Manchester.
Yeah,
And that's why it was set up.
That's why they've
It
never
was
moved
set
to
up,
London.
wasn't it, in direct competition, really,
Yeah.
as a fuck off to London,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Mm.
And
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
sense,
it
it's
has-
worked.
it
It
has
has
a little
created
bit
a
of that,
Manchester
yeah.
scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you were part of that because you were on Factory. You
Yeah,
were
we
the
were.
earliest bands they signed, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I know that we sold records because we were on Factory.
Yeah.
But there was a certain time, like between 81 and 85, where there were people who just bought everything that came out on Factory Records.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
if there was a new
yeah.
Factory release, they bought it because it was on Factory, regardless of who it was.
Yeah.
So in that respect, being on Factory helps. Like
Is it?
4AD have got that kind of identity as well, a separateness and like a, you know, everything.
Well, I
that's
think,
to do
yeah,
with 4AD
I think
is
though
a
that
certain-
4AD tends to mix itself a bit too much with Beggars Banquet.
Mm.
You know, it's sort of.
But
You know,
I
you
mean,
tend to confuse the two issues a little bit more than Factory.
Yeah.
Factory is Factory. 4AD can be confused with Beggars Banquet and
Right.
sort of be considered part of a bigger thing. And
Mm.
see what was the cult and everything else. you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
you know, like people say about the mystique of James.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came from the early time. Don't you think in some ways that some of that was due to the fact that James started life, recording life anyway, on a label that in itself is a
That's got a
mysterious
mystique.
object.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time as Joy, I mean, you were around when Joy Division were there, and there couldn't be a more mysterious band than Joy Division.
No.
Not
I mean,
really.
they've got the biggest mystique. They're like the Doors, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like gods.
Uh-huh.
So, do you know what I mean? I've just thought that that's maybe one reason why James has always had this kind of mysterious edge to them, over and above all the kind of other stuff which then came.
The mystique and the
subsequently to that.
hitness, you know, certainly came
Yeah.
from being part of that.
Mm.
So maybe
And,
Factory to blame for all that.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
doing
I-
your job as an interviewer here,
No,
but
it's all right.
I should
you know,
just
you-
realised something.
you-
Because
you-
we spent all yesterday trying to tell people why James were a mysterious band.
Yeah.
Maybe that's this is one
Mystique.
reason.
I don't know. I don't think that's lasted till now.
No, but as things have supplanted that,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Glennie.
Yeah, but do you think like Factory
Sorry.
could become or could have become or can become for other bands a sort of a comfortable situation to be in? You sort of tend to be in this sort of Manchester Factory safe environment, and you say fuck London, fuck the big record companies and everything else, and you just stay there. You tend to not to.
If they did,
evolve
I think they'd also
properly
say
or-
like,
know.
fuck success or, you know,
Yeah.
fuck exposure because
Not anymore.
why? Because the Manchester scene's exploded, and just as it's exploded, you know, it's on the front cover of Newsweek this month. You know, next month, who knows? You know, it could be forgotten.
Oh, no, probably not. You know, it's been going. You know, every now and then it comes up again.
It's always-
like
it's-
it's going on in Manchester. You know.
Things have always been going on in Manchester, though, haven't they? And they haven't. Factory have been responsible for Joy Division, New Order, and the Happy Mondays. You know, those really. If you think of the other bands, there have been the Smiths from Manchester. They were Rough Trade, Simply Red. You know, they're from Manchester. The Fall, they're from Manchester.
They've been on independent for.
They've been Beggars Banquet,
Yeah.
and now they're on Fontana now.
Yeah.
So, and then there have been ourselves and the
Uh-huh.
Stone Roses,
Yeah.
in Spiral Camp. All these bands have all seen as part of the Manchester tradition. Some of which are now the Manchester scene, but they haven't been involved with Factory. You know, Factory have been involved with two bands really.
Uh-huh.
But I do think that Factory has a hold on Manchester, and I'm only just beginning to see that. You know, it owns the Hacienda.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Tony Wilson is the man who's made it all happen,
Mm.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Dry. Whether you like Dry or not, it's
Yeah.
the centre of something.
Mm.
You know, it's the kind of, it's the rich, it's the wealthy Manchester.
It's the Hacienda Annex.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Gay Traitor Bar Mark II.
Yeah. I mean.
So it's a short 5 bedroom in that respect.
No, all I'm saying is though that the Factory is bigger. Okay, only a couple of the bands which are big
Mm.
are on Factory, but it's got a hold
Yeah.
on Manchester. Tony Wilson,
Yeah,
personally has a
especially
hold
if
on
the
Manchester.
upcoming bands play the Hacienda
Yeah.
and they own it. I'm sure they're the first ones that have a sort of an option or a possibility to put their hands on that band
Yeah.
and release their first product.
It's certainly
and
given
everything else,
Manchester, the kind of pride that produces T-shirts like, Manchester, north of England.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Wilson's gone somewhere personally to give in Manchester an
That
identity.
sense of pride and
An
identity.
identity.
Yeah, of course he has.
I mean, that's the shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Manchester T-shirts, Manchester bands, Manchester record company, Manchester venues. It's all that kind of.
yeah, there's two
It's all
people
that kind of
downstairs.
thing.
Waiting for us.
And having their
Yeah,
own
take one
record
of them.
company, having their own record company in Manchester has helped that because it means that it does cut the tie with London.
The switch to Polygram made things different. You have to look at things at a different perspective, or it doesn't make a difference whatsoever, any difference whatsoever.
Oh, it makes a lot of difference, but not. In
I
perspective.
mean, okay, you
Yeah,
have more better promotion, better everything else, but you as a band, the attitude of the band, you have to change it, or
We've had
or
to
you
change
just-
it because things are just moving that much quicker. They're moving now, and things are happening that we've always wanted to happen.
Yeah.
That we've always been banging our head against the wall with all the other record companies that weren't happening. We knew that they should have been. All of a sudden they are, and it's the escalation of it.
I mean, things are
we're
coming
having
our
to
way
deal.
that we've got to
We've
get
got to
up off
deal
our
with.
asses. We've got to go like, right, we've got to keep up.
Yeah.
That's not to say we're not in control of it. 'Cause, no one at Phonogram is going to tell us what to write or
Well,
what to release. But
you're
it's just,
you just got out your third album, right? So you're
yeah.
not, huh?
well, yeah,
Well,
fourth.
third studio album.
Yeah, third studio. So you're not like, you're not like, you are a band that has got a
History.
following, has got history, has got respect,
Yeah.
has got something. It's not like a new band that they can just say, okay, you do this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, right, thank you, this, that,
Yeah.
So,
They've obviously
like you saying,
they've
you're
looked
not,
at us and they've looked at our history and they've weighed it up and they can see like where James's successes have been,
Yeah.
where James could be marketed in this country, in that country, in the other. How is it best to get inroads into these different countries where people may not have heard of James, like Brazil and places
Is
like
it
that.
something that ever concerned you, not being able to do these things?
Yeah, it always concerned us. That's why we've changed record companies 4 times.
That's not. Yeah.
Because that's what we knew that a record company should do, something that we couldn't. We haven't got a worldwide operation, and we couldn't do it from our office in Manchester. We needed somebody who had, all these different stations all over the world, with
But I
which they
mean-
can promote the record in.
That sharply brings into focus the problem with major record companies as well. You need a major record company, or a really good, or you need to be the one product of an independent record company.
Or the hype of the
Yeah.
moment, like Happy Mondays are.
Well, to make a success worldwide. But that doesn't mean to say that you should then be in a situation where you feel indebted to the record company. Because after all, music, rock music, pop music, whatever, I still think should be about, challenging people, the system, the establishment, and record companies like this one.
Yeah.
They are the establishment. They are. No matter what you like, no matter how good they are for you, they're still the establishment. And in some ways, we should be knocking this. So it's a really difficult situation to be in. Because you like these people, they're really nice people. They work for you. They're really into what you're doing. Everything, yeah. They give you a goal. You work towards it. You reach it. You become rich and famous. And yet,
Yeah, but you're not
know.
like too much against the establishment. I mean, there's a few songs on the album that are.
we're completely anti-establishment. Completely anti-establishment.
Yeah, but then it's not as blatant as a Billy Bragg or something like that.
No, it's much more powerful than Billy Bragg. Billy Bragg makes himself far too obvious to be of any consequence to anybody.
That's soapbox
anybody,
music, isn't it?
anybody like Billy Bragg can only fail because he's only stating the obvious. Whereas every
he's
song.
He's a little too extreme.
No,
in a lot of
he's
things,
not extreme enough.
And aren't you think
No,
so?
no, he's not extreme at all. He's just giving the same old shit. It's just the same old words.
He
There's
doesn't
no
scratch
substance.
beneath the surface. He states the surface, what is obvious on the surface.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't scratch beneath it.
I mean, in a sense, Government Walls, a song on the album,
Yeah.
that's in a Billy Bragg mode. It's very obvious. It's a simple statement. Yeah. So, but there are other songs on that record. Sit Down. Well, Sit Down isn't on the album, but Sit Down. You know, you listen to Sit Down. Those who feel the pain of sadness, touched by madness. These things. You know, to ask people in a pop song to sing along with those lyrics and to think about them is more of a kind of a subversive thing. James is a completely anti-establishment band, and that's why people have always recognised that in some, you know, like always, the vegetarian thing, all those things. They've always been like shocking to people.
Why is
different? You know what I mean? But they're weird, aren't they?
Why is
God,
being
they're
vegetarian
strange.
something shocking?
Well, because people just.
A lot of people are vegetarian, they're like ordinary people, you know, with normal jobs and everything
Yeah,
else.
well,
I mean,
it's shocking to some people in the media, maybe, or they want to make it shocking. So that,
They just think it's odd that there are so many of you in one band. that it,
concentration.
well, yeah. I mean, if you get 5, 6, 7 people together in a band and they all happen to be vegetarian, they all happen to sort of in their own personal
it's
lives have
easier.
made a choice at different.
It's
areas.
easier when you're on the road.
Oh yeah, of
And you
course
got
it is.
catering. I mean, you imagine
Yeah, but
what
it
would
happens
be.
away from the road as well. So it's just a personal choice, whether to wear green or
Yeah.
not. Like if you all chose to wear green, the media would say, "Why do you all wear green? What's the deep significance of all wearing green?" You know, and the
and
thing
it's the
is,
collective.
we just happen to enjoy eating vegetarian food as opposed to eating meat or fish. You know.
So I mean, it's just
But there are no
the collective
exclusions.
thing. Then is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
That's why we're powerful on stage. Why we do a good live show, because there is a unity between us. You know what I mean? You come and see us, and there's something really strong happening there.
Yeah.
We project really well, and we really affect an audience. There are very few bands that I see that affect an audience in the way that we can when we strike it. You know, when we hit a good night.
Uh-huh.
And so the people find the collective thing frightening because it's like a challenge. There's this block of people who are all X, Y, and Z, even though in reality they might not all be X, Y, and Z. They're actually, it's still, we're 7 completely different people in James. Completely different people from very different backgrounds and with totally different expectations of life, really.
But you
So-
have the
But there's
vegetarian
certain
thing in
things,
common.
certain
yeah.
things which just unite us,
Yeah.
So-
Like the attitude about the lyrics, the antisocial thing that you were saying, it unites you all.
Yeah, and we all have got similar, I think, political views, but I don't think we ever even really talk about it very much, so I don't think we even
We haven't got similar political views. I mean, Andy's a Marxist. And
No, we're all left-wing. None of us. There's not one Thatcherite amongst us,
no.
except perhaps...
Oh yeah, we're all united in our anti-Thatcherism.
Right, so,
But does that say that we're left wing? We certainly don't go along with the right wingers over here. Andy's definitely left wing.
well, Andy's Billy Bragg, mode, so that's...
So you have Billy Bragg in the band, huh?
He
Yeah.
just plays trumpet though. He doesn't speak.
Oh, he's the
He's
half.
trumpeter.
He's
half.
6.5.
Yeah.
Right. So he can be anything in that.
He
Yeah.
could be anything. he
It
wants.
sort of doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. But does it?
I wouldn't say it
don't you
doesn't
think
matter, it does matter, but...
I mean, yeah, but
It matters a
not
lot.
as much as. Don't you think that stating that you're left wing can put you in a corner and people can sort of say, "Oh, those left wingers."
Well, it will put you in one...
Not
it will
accept
put
you in the first. Don't not giving you a chance musically and emotionally. In the
No,
music because of that.
Well, it depends how you use the term. I mean, I use the term left wing very advisedly. I mean, if people are going to shove you in a box, then I'd rather be shoved
Especially
in
in
a
this
box.
country.
Well, yeah, but
More in
we-
Europe.
Yeah.
Britain's really reactionary.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, so I don't have any qualms about saying, yeah, I believe, I think I hold left wing views because, if they want to put you in that little box, I'd rather be in that box than be thought of as being a Thatcherite or something. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway, people in Britain are really scared of politics, and they're really scared to make a stand. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's like a dirty word.
I've been talking to a few bands that sort of throw the stone, but they don't. They said, "No, it wasn't me. Sorry."
Yeah.
So they like,
But-
they
but
won't
not
commit
only-
too much.
I mean-
they sort of have general hints about politics, but they say we're not politicians. We're not here to
Well,
make a statement.
I mean, yeah. Well, I think that's
we
right,
don't.
but it is very difficult because people are going to ask you because you are in the
Yeah.
public eye. So in a way, you do have a duty to kind of say something. But I mean, people in Britain, they don't want to talk about politics, but discussion itself, the whole idea of discussing anything, isn't there isn't one that is. People aren't into that in Britain anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you
Don't you think?
Do you think you managed to keep yourselves intact in this political statements, in this political attitude, by the fact that you were on independent labels and you were in Manchester and everything else, and things might have been a bit more watered down if you were in London and you were on a major label and you were more into the public eye right from the beginning.
Well, that's
Instead of being a mysterious band.
that's part of the mythology and the mistaken mythology. You know, like independent, therefore outside the mainstream, therefore left wing. You know, Manchester outside of London, therefore out of the centre, therefore again left wing. It's just like out of the centre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whichever. It doesn't have to be left wing or right wing. But it's just that they seem to be that. There's that comparison made. Yes, left wing band, independent. You know, Manchester. It all equates to the same thing.
It's a bit
You
too
know what I mean?
simplistic.
And it's
I mean,
bullshit.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because there are certain people who are signed to independent labels or work with independent labels who are not based in
No, but
London, who are based in
I
Manchester,
know,
are bloody
I know.
fascists, so they're like right wing.
No, but what I'm saying is, you probably have the opportunity of saying what you want a lot more without having too
I
much
do think
pressure,
I agree with you actually on that level because
you know,
do- you
around
are.
you.
Don't you
And
think
where you
I
sort
always
of
got?
have to compromise
I mean,
a little bit more,
I don't think. It's very difficult.
or water it down a little bit. You know what I mean? No.
There's a tendency in the independent record world that, you know, whatever the band want to do, the band can go and do.
Yeah.
Whereas in a thing like this, there are people here who are really good at the job, who know that they're good at the job, and they make suggestions.
Yeah.
And if they're good suggestions, then we'd either have to argue them, come up with better suggestions ourselves, and failing to do that,
And go with
then
it.
go along with their suggestion because their suggestion is better. So what you're doing is you're working with people who have an input, who do have a say. You know, so in that respect, you're not as free because you're not totally autonomous and
that's what I'm
on your
talking
own.
about.
You know, but
That's
it's like
exactly what I'm saying.
any working relationship with anyone. It's
Yeah,
like if you
except-
produce your own magazine,
Yeah.
you could write about whatever you wanted, no matter how diverse and no matter from what angle.
exactly.
Yet if you work for a magazine, then
You have to comply with the general.
Do you have to
attitude
comply
of
though?
it.
Do you?
In a way, sometimes
Uh-huh.
you can sort of you have more tracks to follow than just do whatever you bloody want.
Yeah. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you're ready to turn around to you and say, look, like a week on Thursday or something, we need somebody to go over here and cover James, you know, and you say, yeah, you know, you haven't thought of it, he suggested it, it's a band that you'd like to work, you know,
Yeah,
you'd like
yeah.
to interview. So in that respect, you know what I mean?
Well,
you're not complying with it. You're working
I'm
alongside
thinking.
it.
I'm thinking more in terms of going to see the Dire Straits and have to write a good review because it's a major magazine and they have a deal with Polygon.
You have
And
to write.
you have to write a good review, and you go there and you think the content is shit,
that's
and you
it.
can't write it's no shit. So in the end, I called them, and I said, look, get somebody else to review it.
Yeah.
You know, get somebody else somewhere else, and they'll review it. Forget that I ever went to it.
Yeah.
You know, or they. I can't remember what happened if I in the end wrote it and then didn't use it and
The
used something
same
else.
here,
You know, so what I'm saying is,
If they wanted us to dress up like Big Fun
no, but
and go on top of the pops and
It's-
do
it's-
that, we'd
it's
say,
not-
get another band to do it because we're not going to do it.
what I was on about is the fact that you know, as I said before, you have reputation, respect, a career behind, and
Yeah.
history. Therefore, you come here and you're not a new band that they can tell.
No,
You
they
want to do.
respect that. They
Yeah.
respect the history.
So you
of
have
that.
a political angle to it, and it's difficult for them to shape you into something different.
Uh-huh.
But the new band comes out, it's like the fall. You know, they come to Fontana or Polygon, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to shape the folk into something else because they've been around for years.
Well, they
You know,
have.
You know, yeah, exactly. So they just
Extra.
so they just take
It's
them
a
in
brilliant
and-
album.
Yeah,
So the relationships work really well, hasn't it?
yeah, but because the program doesn't try to shape them into something, into
They've
a
helped.
product that sells a lot, because it just works by itself. It's just promoted better, it's exposed better, it's got you know, more TV and more interviews, more whatever. Same happens to you. But it's not like with new bands that come here, that have a demo tape,
Yeah.
have good ideas about where they're going, but they come to a record company like, give us a hint, you know,
Yeah.
help us to sell records. And the record company says, all right, okay, you should do this, that, and the
Well,
other.
we've learned to exist on our own,
Yeah.
whereas a
What I
young
was, what I
band
was
like
saying
that
before
wouldn't
is
know how
if
to
you
do it.
weren't in Manchester, if you weren't on independent,
Yeah.
you know, would you have kept the same strong political feelings, the same, you know?
Well, we were on Sire for 2 years, you know, which is a major American label, and we did. You know,
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah,
like
but
3
Sire
years
is like,
later.
You never
somewhere.
talk to Simon.
you don't talk to them.
No.
You know, even though it is like they don't exist.
Uh-huh.
You know,
So,
they're
well, yeah,
somewhere in
right.
New York. You know?
If we'd had a relationship with Sire like we're
Yeah.
now having with Phonogram 2 years
Well-
down the line, I'd be able to answer you.
I mean, I
You
think,
know,
I mean,
well,
those
clearly.
those feelings, you know, of one's own political conceptions, all those things. I mean, they're quite private things that don't actually come into the realm of really come into. You know, it doesn't affect your dealings with a record company because no one's. You're simply a product, and so we're writing songs, we're writing music. Tim's writing lyrics, which we all feel, you know, are us. And that's as simple as it is. The political thing isn't overt. It's not like. I mean, I think Tim's written 2 overtly political songs out of about 50. You know. But many of the others, I suppose, I don't know, you'd have to ask him really, but they sound to me like fairly strong personal views on all sorts of things. And so in the sense that we are a political band, it's only because we're thinking or we're alive in that way, and because we're making music, writing things which we feel strongly about. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not that we're ever going to get up there and start flag waving or try and really change opinion on anything. We're just into playing some good music and getting people along to gigs, and if they really listen to what we're on about, then they'll really get into us. And I think that's what does happen. I mean, people do come along to our gigs and they do recognise that there's an intelligence, you know, in what's been said and the way that things are being put over, and they like that, you know.
Yeah, so
it's
they-
very
they-
strong, and again
yeah.
that comes back from the collective thing. There's 7 people there forcing this at people, you know, really powerfully. And we know what we're doing, you know, and that's and then you marry that with a record company who's got all the facilities, and bang, there you are, you're successful.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with us.
Uh-huh.
So scrub all everything else that we said for the last 20 minutes and just there
Well,
it is.
we're just trying to.
No, it's just it takes you time, you know, to
Clear
get
the-
your mind. 'Cause, you know, we haven't, I suppose.
It's too early to tell. That's how
Yeah.
I feel like how this relationship will blossom.
Develop,
We're just
yeah.
getting the first seat, you know, like this seems like the first.
We're very much at the first stage. I mean, you know, we're just
we
building the
spent
blocks
2
at the
days
moment.
here now in this building, you know, that was like, and getting to know a little bit of how it feels to be working with these people,
Uh-huh.
you know, rather than just being in Manchester and hearing things second hand, third hand,
Yeah.
dealing
Obviously,
with it direct. So, you know, that's going to grow. It's going to
Uh-huh.
grow more.
Well, it's certainly one thing you're not going to be misunderstood with Hello James. You know,
Hello, who?
Halo James.
Hello James.
We're not going to be misunderstood.
No,
Are we
no,
not?
no, I don't think you would. I think they're not particularly good band.
No.
No. What was I going to ask?
Only you know
Ask
that.
us about.
No,
It's a joke.
sorry, I'm on blank.
You're gonna need another tape.
You are, right?
Nah. How much? You're saying that when you're on stage, you're very strong.
Mm.
You come across really strong with the intelligence. You know, they see there's an intelligence there. So. Musically, do you think that it's there's a trap somewhere where you can tend to go for the dancey stuff and get in a sort of area where the Happy Mondays and other bands like that go.
There's a trap. There's a trap now.
Yeah.
It's been. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't before. If
No,
James
no,
had done
I
a
know.
dance song, it would have just been another James song. But if James do,
Well, now the way
A dance song
that
now.
that sort of dancey stuff is popular.
yeah,
that's what I mean.
there is a trap. You know,
I don't think we're going to fall into it. I mean, we've done some
we'll always
dance
do diverse
remixes
stuff.
because
We'll never do like a dance album. I don't think.
No,
well, I don't
no.
know. We might do. Who knows?
I mean,
what
the thing is, you see, like, I mean, we've had dance mixes done of 1 or 2 songs, but it's only 1 or 2 songs, and it's because, you know, we want to see what our work sounds like given to other people, made into something different, shaped differently by other people's hands. You know, those people are really talented people, and so, you know, the people.
So
that
it's
we've got-
more a matter
So
of
well, let's
production.
see. Well, no, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, we Come Home is in a way a dance song. People sit down is a dance song.
Yeah.
You know, people go wild to these songs in clubs. How Was It For You is even a dance song in some ways because people dance to it.
Yeah.
But, and you know, it's like, but then some of the overt dance mixes that we've had done sound like completely, like to me, you know, okay, they're dance mixes and everybody goes, oh, you're drunk on the bandwagon, whatever. But they're ahead of their time, you know,
Uh-huh.
like they're different. So, yet again, James has done something which is different, and we always will do something different. And, you know, like on this album, you know, there's 2 really slow songs. They're beautiful songs with beautiful melodies. You know, there's other songs which are hard rock and roll songs.
Mhm.
There's songs which are, you know, there's Come Home, which is a dancey kind of song. There's a political song. You know, the songs about you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's very versatile. You can't just.
James isn't one thing,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it. And that's why I think, in a way, 18 months ago, the instruments, the people that were brought into the band, that's why that happened, and why
Yeah.
those instruments came in, because all of a sudden we could make, you know, we could create noise, we could create sound, music, that sounded really, really big if you wanted it to sound big, or spiky and horrible if you wanted it to, or, you know, you got a violin, a trumpet, keyboards, all these things, you know, to augment the kind of the normal.
The James,
Well, the normal kind of rock and roll instruments, and then but in the hands of James, you know, it can sound really strange or really simple, really beautiful, you know, whatever. Do you know Goldmother, the album?
You've heard the album.
Yeah, heard the album.
I mean, you hear there, you know, a track like Crescendo,
Yeah.
which is a really beautiful, simple song.
Yeah,
And on the
it's-
other,
Yeah.
on
which
the other
has,
hand,
which has no
it's not-
lyric.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
which
and
has,
then you
that's
get
the
Gold
instrument.
Mother.
then you get Gold,
The
The
exactly,
track
that was the
Gold Mother. Yeah,
comparison I was
the
going to make.
comparison between the
And then
two.
you get Gold Mother, which is like this spiky,
Very, very
nasty,
wordy.
funny, kind of, you know.
It's kind of 3
Mishmash.
things. It's like